And I would have done a solo interview. Thing I'm out. This is the first time I have ever done anything. I don't do this
I'm
shit.
going to ask you that in the interview. That's incredible. Really?
No one gives a shit about what I did.
This is why we have this show.
Right? And that's why I was like, you know what? Somebody's noticing us. And I thought, I'm like, this is where I'm gonna.
And you're like, who's
gonna
noticing?
break the seal on this?
Shit, another drummer. Behind every hit song is an undeniable beat. So why doesn't anyone talk to the drummer about it? The reason I started this show was because my years of touring in a band, nobody in the press ever wanted to talk to me. How much press do you do compared to other people in a band?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Zero. I don't talk too often. You think of 30 years of doing this, I would have done this at least one other time.
Honored to be the first one.
Thank you.
I wanted to kind of get into what your influences are on the drums. What made you start the drums and who really inspired you?
Oh, well, honestly, I started playing drums by accident. Like, I'll go back a little bit. My father was a drummer in a Celtic marching band, so the kilt and that. So anyway, for his 40th birthday, my mom bought him a drum kit. It sat in the basement for a little bit. And then my brother started taking drum lessons, and he goes through about a month. And he comes back, and the quintessential beat that you learn first, it was do ga da ga da ga do ga. And so he's so proud, and he's got this grin on his face. He's like, well, you play this. And I sat down, and I just played it. I hadn't really played drums, and he quit drum lessons next week, and I took his place. But I had no real intention of being a drummer when I started off. It found its way into my house, and I didn't care about it until I sat behind it, and it just felt right. It felt like that's where I'm supposed to be. And all of a sudden, I'm like in Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd and, Bonham, such an influence for me. I have one tattoo. I got the 3 circles on my back.
Nice.
And, I got his, my mom took me to look at that when I was 15.
Are you from here?
I was born in Hamilton and then raised in Sudbury.
Yeah.
And then I just found myself back to Hamilton, back here.
You've played in so many bands, and with the Trews not being the original drummer of the Trews and coming into a catalog and an established fan base and all that kind of stuff, how do you find your way and find your voice in a band that has already been established?
Oh, God, honestly, great question. I don't ever want to come in and just put myself on a song. I think the most important thing, as a drummer, you're a backbeat, you're kind of a cornerstone, right? So I've always tried to be filled with energy, a bright light, I want to make sure that everybody's having as much fun as they can, and that when they look over in rehearsal, they're like, how the fuck is this guy just like giving 110%? It's like no one's here.
Times it's just
Feel.
I kind of ad-lib a little thing different every time.
That's gonna work well with me. That's good.
But I guess the main part of it is, be positive, be authentic. Rhythm has a great way of coming out. If you listen to it, the song's kind of giving you what you need. Unless like you're animals as leaders and you're doing all this wild polyrhythmic syncopated stuff. For a lot of times, the basic rhythm of a song, it's there. It's calling for you to listen to it and bring it out into the world. And, I just try and amplify what the song's asking for. I've always done that. And a little bit of my flair.
What a good beat.
It's fun, eh?
Oh.
It just kind of came out when we were in the studio there.
Yeah.
They kind of had an idea of what they wanted to do, and it was just one of those things. It got there, and I was just like, all right.
How do you battle between the flash, but also the sitting back in the pocket and knowing what the song kind of needs in that moment? How do you battle those two things?
Well, you're never doing it on your own. Songs come at you in many ways. Sometimes they're fully written, and as a guy who stepped in to do a bunch of studio work in the past, sometimes someone comes in, they play you a drum beat, and it's like, I want you to do this, and you do that. And other times you're jamming in a room and writing it. It comes from one riff, and then 20 minutes later, you're like, how the hell did this come about? How do you figure out what a song needs? You got to listen to your bandmates. If you trust them, if someone really doesn't like something, they should speak up. You listen. Very rarely do I fight to have something I think, like, this is the greatest beat ever, guys. It's going on this song, and you don't do that, right? You listen, and eventually it all coalesces and comes together. Whether that's from, meticulously figuring it out, or just that authentic in the jam space, just out of the ether, it pops up, right? Either way, there's no one way.